All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jeff Bridges. I am with Haddock Education Technologies, and my apologies for not being on the screen. Trade show season has started, and I am driving furiously to a trade show in Kansas. But we do appreciate you jumping on this afternoon with us. About 3 years ago, we started getting questions and looking into solutions for security cameras and belling paging systems. And, and the next progression to that was visitor management. So we began that search to try to find a partner for the visitor management market. And lo and behold, about a year and a half ago at the Missouri Principals Conference, we ran into the folks from KIDaccount and started to have some conversations with them. And it seemed like this was the proverbial answer to our questions about how to effectively and efficiently manage student access, visitor access, and a lot of different things that we hadn't even thought of. So again, we appreciate you jumping on here to find out a little bit more about that. We have with us today from KIDaccount, Kim Robertson and Jennifer Marler. And so we're going to turn it over to their capable hands and spend the next 20 minutes or so giving you guys a brief overview of the KIDaccount platform. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to chat those out, and we will try to get those answered on today's meeting. If not, we will find the answers and get those back to everyone. So again, thank you. And Kim and Jennifer, take it away.
Thank you, Jeff. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Kim Robertson, and I am Director of Operations and Business Development here at KIDaccount. Just a brief history on myself as well. I am a retired teacher, and so come from 25 years of education experience. And Jennifer, who's on the line with us today too, who works at KIDaccount, she is a former school secretary as well. So that is one of the things that our company does pride itself on, is working very closely with schools and making sure we have products that are efficient and effective for schools. Today, we're going to do a high-level overview of our system. What you're going to find is KIDaccount is really all about daily school safety, not just about the big event that we all want to prepare for, which is very critical and very important, but that daily school safety is just as important. And so we really do have a solution that's fully integrated to account for every student every day, all day long. So we have 8 different modules in our suite of products. They are all fully integrated. Before I jump into those individually, I just want to give you a little bit of background on our company. We do have over 20 years of experience in the K-12 industry. We do most of our programming. We have 40 years of combined experience in software development on staff, probably a little bit more than that now with some of the new hire that we've just hired. But we really grew up in the car line where we were accounting for those students every single day, and then have continued to grow our product line to where it is today. We are partners with the I Love You Guys Foundation. And so if you are familiar with that, they really are the leaders in school safety right now. And so we are modeling our product line to match the same protocols that they are also calling for as well when it comes to school safety. We do integrate with your student information systems. So we integrate with all student information systems. We can do a nightly SFTP sync to gather all of your information, so no one has to go in and put data in. It's basically setting up that sync. If you are a Power School we are partners with Power School, so we do have the Power School plugin, so you can just simply connect via that plugin. We do also offer seamless sign-ins with, of course, our single sign-ons with Google and Microsoft as well. So to jump in a little bit more into our product line, to talk about these 8 pieces, the first 4 that I'm going to talk about are really kind of geared to the elementary school and dismissal. So that daily dismissal, the classroom communication, which manages your dismissal changes, your car line management, bus and transportation, and after-school programs. They really do function together as a full, complete dismissal suite. So we'll start with the classroom communication. So basically, this is going to help manage. If you've been in the elementary school classroom or elementary school office, you know that the phone calls are ringing in all day long saying, hey, my kid can't ride the bus today, or they need to stay for after school, or whatever those dismissal changes may be. And every school has their own way of documenting that. And a lot of times that requires like putting it down on a Post-it note, or if you see this picture here on the left, it is, putting together these clipboards to figure out how to communicate this to the classroom. A lot of times it's calling the classroom and telling the teacher what the dismissal change is, and it's interrupting that instruction time. What KIDaccount does is it gives you a nice platform to be able to manage all of that information in. As I mentioned before, one of the things we pride ourselves on is that this is a really simple onboarding. And for your teachers, it's a really simple process. They have one place to go to manage this. They have a teacher classroom page that's going to show all of their student dismissals. So they're going to see their students in 3 buckets of information: who's going home in the car line, the bus, and the after school, what bus number, what after school program. When your front office gets that phone call or gets the email that says, hey, Tyson is supposed to be in math today, math club after school, but I'm going to need him to ride the bus home, you can simply go to their student profile, click on the date. Your secretary gives them a platform to be able to say, okay, he's going to ride bus 14, and then they can type in a quick note. That note that they type in is going to be visible across all of the dismissal modules. So your teachers are going to be able to see it. Your bus drivers are going to be able to get this information as well. And then you can submit that. What happens in the teacher's classroom is that Tyson Young was down here in the after school program for the math after school club. Now he has moved up here to the bus line and turned red, and the notes that were typed in came along with it. So now at the end of the day, when teachers need this, they can simply go to their classroom page and they can see exactly where students are going to be going for the day. Most of our schools pull this up on a smart board, and they go through this with their students. And that way the students are getting the information when they need it. Teachers are also getting the information. There's no miscommunication, people pointing fingers at each other saying, hey, I didn't get that message. Maybe the teacher had a Post-it note that got stuck underneath a stack of ungraded papers. So it eliminates all of that miscommunication, and it gives you that information right when you need it. The other great feature about the dismissal changes is you can also create schedules. So at the beginning of the year, you find out, hey, on mom's week, this student's going to do one thing, and on dad's week, he's going to be doing a different thing. You can set that schedule up at the very beginning of the year. Maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays, grandma picks up for dance class every week. You could set that schedule up to run the entire year. Maybe it's a schedule that only needs to run for a month. But you can put that in there. You don't have to worry about anyone remembering that schedule. Front office doesn't have to remember, student doesn't have to remember, teacher doesn't have to remember. It's simply going to pop up on that teacher page when there is a scheduled change. It's going to be in red, and any notes that are along with that scheduled change are going to show up as well. One of the nice things is that you're also going to be able to have a reports on everything. And so that's probably one of the biggest benefits of this program, as far as from the dismissal change part, is you're going to be able to see every dismissal change. You're going to be able to see every note that was typed in, when it was typed in, who typed that information in. So you're going to have that full accountability for all of those pieces, making sure that every single student is dismissed correctly every single day. That's pretty critical, that we're not putting students on the wrong bus to go home. Next thing I'm going to jump into is Carline management. I did forget to say, as I kind of bounce from one module to the next, too, if there are any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat. Jennifer will do her best to answer those. If there are some questions that we might need to cover at the very end, we'll talk about those as well, but we will have a Q&A time at the end as well. So for the Carline management, our system is set up to be able to work in a holding area dismissal. So some of your schools may use holding areas. Some of your schools may be dismissing from the classroom. COVID kind of drove the classroom dismissal, and schools that went to it love it and they don't want to go back. And so it does provide for that more time in the classroom. There's less behavior problems because you don't have kids in a big, huge group, and just kind of less chaos through the facility. Basically, this system is going to give you a silent dismissal. So you don't have to worry about the radios or the intercoms. None of that is necessary with the KIDaccount's dismissal system. So just to show you a high level of how that system works, you have the car line outside. Most all schools have a car line outside. You have the car line outside, and you're going to scan either the parent app or a physical card. We can provide either one, parent app or physical card. That's going to communicate that information that that person is there in the line, that they're going to be come across in the order that the cars are lined up outside into that holding area or the classroom, those students' names are going to start populating. So the teacher's going to know it's time to send them, or if they're in that holding area, they're going to know it's time to line up. Organizer's going to line them up, send them out to the dismissal staff who's putting them into the car and sending them home. So a closer look at how that works. If you have the parent app, basically what's going to happen is the scanner is going to scan that barcode. And if someone doesn't have the app or the card with them, and this is what the physical card looks like, but if for some reason someone does show up without it, there is a search bar at the bottom where they can search for the student by the last name as well. So those items are not, the system is not dependent on those items. Basically what happens is it's going to pull up a list up on that scan. It's going to pull up a list of all the people who are allowed to pick up that student. Now that's going to come over from your student information system. So that's going to be part of that nightly sync. So if your contacts are updated in your student information system, those are going to populate right here. If you do have someone who, or you did have that note, someone who called in, and you have that note from the office, maybe Aunt Nancy is in town and is not on the list from student information system because she wasn't put in there for that nightly sync, that note will still come over. So whoever's out there scanning and putting those students into the cars will know that that person is approved to take that student home. If you do have that banned contact, someone who has a court order, not allowed to pick up the student, they're going to show up in red. If that name is selected, it's going to send a text alert to whoever you have in the system to get that. Could be a school resource officer, your administration, so that whoever's in the car line doesn't have to stop the car line and deal with any sort of confrontation. They can just ask them to pull up and that Emma will be out soon, or, pull up for approval. And the person who's trained to deal with that scenario can address that situation because they're going to get an alert to let them know that that's happening. Once you select the person that's there, let's say that Sally is there to pick up Emma, you select Sally's name, and that information is going to start populating either in that holding area or that classroom, and also on the devices for the person that's going to be organizing them and for the person that's going to be dismissing them into the car. They're going to be able to see that student's name, their grade, what classroom they're from, who's there to pick them up. And so as they start to arrive to line up, they're going to select their name, they will turn red. And once they have the group, say you're loading a group of 10 students, take that 10 students out, load them into their cars, and you're going to click the red X to X them out of the system, basically. And what that's going to do is it's going to put that into a report. On that parent app that your parents have, it's going to send them a notification when that happens to tell them that like Emma Snow has been picked up by John Snow. So they're going to get a dismissal notification to let them know that their child has been dismissed in the car line. Or if there was a dismissal change, they will also get notification for that as well. And then, of course, all of that goes into a nice report. So if you get that phone call at 4:30 from Jackson's mom saying, hey, Jackson did not get off the bus today, where's my child? You can very quickly go and look at the reports, and you can see that Jackson was picked up by Crystal Cook in the car line at 3:08, and be able to communicate that within minutes instead of having to call around to the bus garage, to the staff that might have been, they're out doing things with their family already by the time you get that phone call. And so now you have that information at your fingertips, which makes it really nice. You also have access to each student's individual reports as well. So if you did get, the social worker comes in and says, hey, we had an incident we just found out about. I need to know how the student went home 2 weeks ago on Thursday. You can go to that date and see exactly how that student was dismissed. There's no way that any staff member our staff members are great and we know every car and who everybody belongs to. But there's no way that we're remembering 2 weeks down the road, or even the next day, probably, who was there to pick up that student. So these reports are critical in that information should an incident arise. All of our modules are integrated, and so all of the daily changes to the schedules that were made by the front office also come across to not only the car line, but also to the bus and the after-school programs as well. So in that bus module, you do get access to a printable daily bus manifest. And so you can print this out for your bus drivers ahead of time. You can give access to the bus garage so they can access it ahead of time as well. But instead of having a whole bunch of bus passes, which is what most schools do, now you can have this all on one sheet. Your bus drivers are going to be able to see who's new on the bus that day that's not normally there, and any notes that the office might have typed in, who's normally on the bus that may be absent or has a different dismissal method for the day. And so you have that full bus manifest. You know exactly who's supposed to be on the bus that day based on any dismissal changes or schedules that were put into the system. The other great thing is that you can either, with an extra card, you could scan students onto the bus, or just the list from right here. You can go down, and as your students load the bus, the staff member that's loading them onto the bus can simply be checking them onto the bus, and by selecting their name, they're also able to see any notes that were typed in. That's going to put them into a report that they were dismissed onto that bus. And so now you're going to have a busing report as well as to who rode every bus every day. And so that's going to give you really great safety measures as well. You know that you check those students onto that bus, and you're going to get the notifications. If the parents have the parent app, they're going to get the notifications that their student was checked onto that bus, was dismissed from school and put on that bus. So they're going to know that their child is on their way home. This also communicates with the after-school programs. This is really nice. Most schools have after-school programs, and you're able to have an accurate roll call for your after-school programs. If a student who's normally there is absent for the day, it will take their name off of that roll call. And so your staff members, whether they are a school employee or whether they are not, would be, if you want to give them access to this, your after-school program staff will be able to see exactly who they're supposed to have that day. You're going to have nice reports for your grants or funding opportunities, or maybe for a snack program or whatever you might need those reports for, as to how many students attended each of those different after-school programs. The other great thing about after school is you're able to dismiss your staff from there. So just like the Carline, when you pull up a student's name, it's going to pull up a list of all of their approved caregivers. So everybody who's allowed to pick them up, and you can dismiss them so that you have a report of what time each student got picked up from the after school care and who picked them up. So those are our dismissal packages. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is our event day. Event day is our newest addition to our product line. We have had a party day for a while now, but event day is a new and improved version of that. So this is to help you manage all of those events that you might have on campus. Right now, we know that on party days, on those holiday party days, or on various event days where you have people coming onto your campus, it can get chaotic. And you have these long lines, and sometimes it takes a long time to get people in to check and make sure that these people should be on campus, that they're okay to be on campus. And KIDaccount is giving you a system to be able to help you monitor that. So you don't just have random unscreened visitors walking around your hallways on those party days. So basically the way the system works is you can set up as many events as you need to, and you're going to be able to put in the settings for your events. You're going to tell the date, what time, when you want registration to end. You can put in a passcode. You can put in messages for your registrants as well. And it's going to generate a custom link. And so you're going to send this custom link and the passcode that you've created to your parents for them to be able to register. They're going to go, it's going to create this website. They're going to go there to register and sign up for the event. Once they sign up for the event, you're going to get notification that they've signed up. So now, prior to events ever occurring, you're going to know who to expect on campus because they've been able to do that. And they're doing the workload of putting that information in. You're not. The great thing is that once everybody has registered, you can pre-print your visitor badges. So ahead of those chaotic, hectic event days where you're trying to get everybody in the door, you can have your visitor badges pre-printed with everybody's name. When they register and you have approved them, it will run them through a national sex offense screening. And so you're going to know that they're safe to be on campus as far as that goes. You will also be able to make sure that they're on the child's approved caregiver list, or if they are a banned contact as well. When you go to print those badges, you can organize those by the visitor last name, or you could organize them by the homeroom teacher last name. So it makes it really nice for you, for your office staff, to be able to manage that event easily and get people in the door quickly, because they can go to the different tables based off of a last name to be able to pick up their visitor badges, or you can have them organized however you see fit for that. And then if you're using our visitor management system, you can also scan this barcode whenever they leave. They can scan their barcode on the kiosk to sign out. We'll go through the visitor management system in just a little bit. So it gives you a nice platform to be able to manage all of that from. Next thing I want to jump into is the Hallpass. If your school is anything like the school that I came from, our middle school bathrooms were filled with students a lot of times who were vaping or causing some destruction, doing things they shouldn't be doing. And our hall pass system gives you a way to manage that, to be able to set restrictions on groups of students that you know should not be meeting up together in the bathroom. You have those students that like to meet up. You're going to be able to set those restrictions. You can set limits on how many hall passes students can have. You can set limits where students can have no hall passes at all, and you get a notification. So you can also set individual limits. You can customize all of your destinations and how long students have to go to those destinations. If they do go over the time limit that you've set, then whoever's in the system to receive the text alerts can get a notification letting you know, hey, these students have been gone too long. Just prior to our call, Jeff was talking about a situation at a school he was at where two students had been out of class, and they realized they'd been gone for 7 hours. With a system like this, it's going to prevent that. You're going to know if those students haven't made it back to class. You're going to have nice comprehensive reports from the administrator side to be able to sort and filter lots of different ways. And if our filters aren't enough for you, you can export that to a CSV so that you can filter that even further, print reports for parents if you need to. And it's going to give you the data that you need to support your decisions that you're making in your buildings. So lots of different reports. You also have a mobile hall monitor that everyone does have access to that will show you any overdue students in the hall, any students that are out in the hall, where they're supposed to be and how long they've been gone for. Teachers also have access to their own reports, so they're able to see any students that they've signed out and how many passes a student has had in a day and where they've been for that day. The staff page is really nice because teachers are able to not only see who has signed out from their classroom on the classroom line, but they're also able to see all of the current building passes. So if they know of a situation, maybe there's not a restriction in place, but they know of a situation that has occurred, they can see everyone that is in the hallway at any point in time. Or maybe they see a student that is on the complete opposite side of the building from where they're supposed to be. Now they have that information at their fingertips as well to kind of help manage that hallway traffic. Our system is super flexible. We have 3 different ways that students can initiate passes. One could be from their student device. So if you have Chromebooks or iPads, your students could request a pass from their device. That does need to be approved by the teacher. You can also set up a room kiosk where there's an extra device in the room. Students can go to that to sign in and out. And of course, staff can also initiate a pass from their page. That student device is pretty simple. Basically, they request a pass, tell where they are, where they're going, and the teacher approves with either a PIN code or on their page. And then that student device will show a timer, and the students can simply come back in and check in on their device. If you're using the room kiosk, the extra device in the classroom, that'll be connected to that teacher's classroom. They will sign into that, and it'll be connected to their classroom. Students can again select where they're going, or instead of searching for their last name to initiate that hall pass, they can scan their badge. If you have student IDs that have a barcode on them, we can connect to that, and they can scan their ID, and it will automatically populate their information and create that hall pass for them to wherever they're going. They can simply check back in on that room kiosk as well. And then, of course, on the staff page, staff members are able to create passes from there by searching for a student's last name. And if a student initiates from the kiosk, those students are going to automatically populate up here. No approval is needed from the kiosk. All right. I'm going to jump into our visitor management system. So our visitor management system, of course, communicates with all of the other modules. So if a student is out on a hall pass, visitor management system is going to know that for emergency drills and reunification. Also, our visitor management system is going to assign a student a hall pass if they sign in through the student in and out. So our visitor management has not just visitor in and out that runs visitors through its sex offense screening, but also has student in and out, staff in and out programs. That's for students who might switch campuses throughout the day, and volunteers. We have a nice kiosk with an ID holder, and then of course you can print a visitor badge through our system as well. So So this is what the kiosk looks like. If a visitor comes in, just to demonstrate really quickly, if a visitor comes in, they would simply click that they are a visitor, sign in. It's going to take their current day photo, so you have that on file. They're going to tell why they're there. They can either, you can set it up for them to type in their reason, or it can be a populated drop-down menu that you set up. They will scan the back of their driver's license. There's a little ledge on the kiosk that they can just set their driver's license in. It'll scan that driver's license. And on their end, it's just going to say, thank you, please wait for attendant. So they're not having to type in any of their information. It's going to auto pull it up from their state ID. And inside the office, you're going to be able to see each of those sign-ins. If someone does have results on that sex offense screening, so as soon as that driver's license is scanned, it's an instant screening through the National Sex Offense. If there are results, you're going to see that, and you're going to be able to pull those up and see what those are. If there's not, it will also send out a text alert if there was results that someone who has a hit on the sex offense screening is trying to access the building. And that will send that to school resource officers or whoever you want in the system. Everything looks good and you accept a visitor, you can print out their visitor badge. And again, it has that barcode so that you can scan that on sign out. So it makes that sign out quick, nice and fast. We also have student sign in and out, where if your students have their own IDs, they can sign themselves in and out, or parents can come in and sign them out using that app or that physical card on our kiosk. So that's the student sign in and out. You can print late passes from there as well. And if a parent is there to sign a student out and they've selected to sign that student out, it's going to populate for you what we call our PUP list, which is our pickup people. So same as the Carline, that list of everyone who's allowed to pick up that student, including any banned contacts, they show up in red. So if that banned contact is there, you can select that. Again, just like the Carline, it will send out that text alert to let you know. We also have programs, which is the students switching campuses, staff and volunteer. So if students switch campuses, you can have as many programs in there as you see fit. And the students can use their IDs to scan in and out. It will track their time in those programs. We also have staff sign in and out and volunteer sign in and out. That is all underneath our visitor management system. So it is a robust and complete visitor management system to manage all your souls on campus. We do also have emergency management, which does communicate with all of those pieces. So they all fully integrate. It is set up for an evacuation or a lockdown. So your drill staff could be doing the counts. Your staff, if you are in a lockdown, staff can self-report as well. I'm going to skip through this one pretty quickly, but basically your staff from those pages that they're using every day, that dismissal page, that Hallpass page, they're able to access that roll call from a button on the staff homepage, either from their dismissal or from their Hallpass page. They're going to go into the roll call. If they do have a student missing, they would select the red button and it's going to pull up a list of all of their students. So it's going to pull up a roster of their students. If they're already signed out on a Hallpass, they'll automatically be marked red, and it's going to indicate that inside of here. It's going to tell that staff member where they're on a Hallpass to. Or they can also toggle them red and type in a quick note here. When they're ready, they can simply click submit the roll call. They can also do this from their own mobile devices. So this is browser based. So you can do this from a mobile device or from a tablet, an iPad, a desktop computer. If somebody did have an extra student, they can click the yellow, and it is going to, they can claim that extra student that they might have if they have a student that's not on their roll call with them. And then that does put all of that information onto a really nice dashboard for administrators, first responders, so that you can see any missing students that are in your school, any student visitors, any visiting staff, any missing staff. So you're going to have a complete picture of what's happening if you are in a drill or in that emergency situation. And then it will give you nice reports as well. And then you also do have a mobile dashboard to be able to see what is happening. So if you are out and about moving around during a drill or during an actual event, which is probably going to be the case, the mobile dashboard is going to be critical for you to know exactly what's happening in your building. And then our reunification with that follows the same method as our Carline system. And so it is that same 4-point. You can scan that card or the parent app or you can search for the student by their last name if you don't have those things, and it'll pull up all of the people that are approved to pick up that student, just like the Carline does. And you might get notifications as well. So if someone was already picked up from there, it's going to let you know. So you scan that app, search for that last name. It's going to tell you if they were already picked up from a different reunification site, or if they were absent for the day, it's going to give you that. And then we do have manual procedures in place as well. So that is our system. We do have a pretty robust system. Those are our different modules that we do offer. And if you have any questions, now would be the time to ask those questions. Or Jennifer, were there any questions in the chat that we need to address at this point in time?
No, there was not.
Okay.
Kim and Jennifer, I know we don't necessarily talk about, end user costs, but I think it is important. You kind of touched on it early. These are all standalone solutions, but can be stacked together to create a more robust solution, correct?
Yes, absolutely. The system is completely modular. So if you just needed a visitor management system, you can pick up just the visitor management system. Or maybe you just need a Carline solution. You can just pick up just those modules that you need, and custom packages can be built for you.
Awesome. And the link that Jennifer shared, that is if you would like to get more information or to schedule a one-on-one, either a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting at your school or district, you can log on there and request a meeting time.
All right, any other questions? Trying to glance through the chat here because I wasn't able to watch it buzz.
There are always questions afterwards, and we'll be happy to follow up or be available to answer those for you. I would be remiss if I didn't say hello to Keith Petty. He snuck in on the Zoom today. Keith is the founder of KIDaccount, so thank you for joining us as well today, Keith.
All right, well, thank you, Jeff. We appreciate you hosting us.
Yep. Well, thanks everyone again. We appreciate it. If there are other questions, please reach out, and we appreciate you being here this afternoon. Thank you so much.